it's funny to me when they're talking about being proactive and making this all relevant, as if manipulation does not happen in 2023. As if young people are still not easily. Like, was Snow White 14 or 15 in the original story? Sorry that at that age, she didn't know everything. That she was not the girl bossy feminist leader queen yet. Like, I'm sorry, that's not good enough for you. That's the story. This is still relevant. Being a young innocent person, that's something we have all experienced. That is relevant in itself. Again, the values are timeless. You do not need to...
Now that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White, what did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1950, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story, with a guy literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. Super weird. So we didn't do that this time.
After months of controversy and the disastrous failure of Snow White at the box office, the film has quickly turned into a massive disappointment. Despite a substantial budget of $270 million, it only managed to bring in $87 million on its opening, igniting a wave of blame. However, instead of owning up to the criticism, Rachel Zegler is reportedly lashing out at others, including Brett Cooper. Sources claim that Zegler is deeply upset, bitter, and frustrated, especially now that Disney's latest project is officially a failure. And things are only getting worse. Snow White and the Evil Queen, a project produced by The Daily Wire and starring Brett Cooper, is already gaining significant attention even before its release. Unlike Disney's version, Cooper's film promises to remain faithful to the original Grimm brothers fairy tale, focusing on themes like good versus evil and beauty versus vanity and avoiding political messaging, something many fans have been asking for. In contrast, Zegler's remake has gone in a different direction, mocking fans, belittling the prince by labeling him a stalker, inserting political activism, and showing her clear disdain for men. In one scene, even the dwarves end up doing all the work for her. Zegler herself made it clear that her remake was meant to rewrite history through a modern feminist lens, which didn't sit well with fans.
There you stand and you mold yourself, and you lose a lot of yourself in doing that if you hate the project, if you hate the play. But if you're able to love the characters, you're able to love the production and the story you tell, it's so much more meaningful, and you feel like you're actually part of something that can impact audiences and impact culture. You're really important.
So let's close with Snow White and the Evil Queen. You do play Snow White?
Yeah. So we announced it when we announced Benji. So Darren, he goes, where are you? Like, I'm not wearing outfits. He says, I need you to be there, please. Yeah, so if you turn me ask anything, you say, yes, I'll be there. We're inside the apartment. I get to the lobby of the police station down. And he says, we want to do something that it might be impossible. And this was at the time that it was during the sex strike, because everything was going viral about Disney Snow White.
Everything Disney.
Everything Disney.
Of soft order and the demolition narrative.
Yeah.
Like the
traditional
narrative.
Yeah.
It's just real. Oh yeah, we'll improve it. Yeah, these
they're not showing secret agents. And what was in the middle of all of this happening, I had obviously been following it, I had done episodes about it.
No, the gay mask is just a destructive agenda. It's just a demo agenda with we're pro-inclusion. That's the mask. That's the mouse. That's something that if you attack, you sound like a bigot.
Yeah. It's fair. Yeah, so long.
Yeah, no, we're just bringing the marginalized. Yeah, wait till you invite the real monsters out from underneath the rocks. You're bringing in the marginalized. We're starting to see that happen already.
Right.
Let's see Jeremy.
So I went to see Jeremy, and this was as Snow White was happening, and people were very disappointed about the way that Disney was rolling out this project.
As predicted, the movie is failing miserably. The backlash is unrelenting. Social media is flooded with mockery, and the film's reputation continues to plummet with each passing day. Many are now openly stating that Brett Cooper should have been cast as Snow White in the first place. Fans are comparing the two actresses online, with many promising to skip Disney's version in favor of Cooper's upcoming adaptation, assuming it doesn't get cancelled. The most ironic part? Brett Cooper hasn't even done much to promote her version yet. She hasn't needed to, as the hype is building on its own. Cooper even shared her thoughts on Disney's Snow White in a podcast with Dr. Jordan Peterson, subtly criticizing the project. She acknowledged that audiences felt disappointed and fully understood why. The message of Disney's version was clear, and people simply weren't buying it.
More bad news for Disney's Snow White remake coming out next year.
I'm a narcissist.
There's another Snow White movie competing with it. It's called Snow White and the Evil Queen, and the producer promises to be more faithful to the spirit of the original animated classic.
Walt once said about Snow White, to me, I thought it was the perfect story. Unfortunately, the company Disney founded doesn't agree with their founder.
30, it's predicted that 45% of women will be unmarried and childless. And why do you think that is? Well, it's because we've been told that, men are trash, and that our career is the only thing that matters, and that marriage and children will inhibit that, which is unnatural. That is biologically unnatural.
With Disney now abandoning Rachel Zegler amid this fiasco, reports suggest she's furious about the comparisons. Fans have turned against her, and to make matters worse, Brett Cooper's popularity is on the rise. That's when things got personal. Zegler allegedly began taking direct shots at Cooper, as her rival's Snow White adaptation was stealing attention even before its release. It's worth noting that Brett Cooper, a conservative star, has fully embraced the role of Snow White and received widespread support. Her performances in past projects and the overwhelmingly positive reception to her movie teaser have only increased excitement. Unlike Zegler, Cooper is known for her unapologetic views and rejection of Hollywood's forced progressive narratives, making her a perfect fit for a traditional Snow White. Now that Disney's version has flopped, it's clear that the progressive take on the classic tale has fallen flat. Audiences weren't interested in a so-called leader rewriting history and stripping beloved story elements for political messages. Fans wanted a captivating, genuine story, not a lecture. Word of mouth has been brutal, with many calling Disney's Snow White boring, disorganized, and meaningless. Even Disney's marketing team struggled to save it. Meanwhile, Brett Cooper's version continues to gain traction, proving that audiences still crave authentic storytelling. This isn't just a clash between two actresses, it's a cultural battle between tradition and forced change. It's about what people truly want in their stories. And based on the box office numbers, Disney's Snow White is an undeniable failure. And well, guys, that's basically it. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion matters. See you in the next video.